Here we are, mate. The last day of the Spring Carnival.
Yeah, who would have thought that we became the most popular podcast for racing in the world in the space of one season?
Yeah, it's actually quite unbelievable that we have like a couple of listeners overseas. It's great. But no, it's been a hell of a journey, mate. And I don't know, I'm actually a bit exhausted by the by the end of the carnival. So it was a bit of a mission doing the form for Saturday.
Yeah, it was. Some cracking races though. A few open races, bit of value to be had, I think.
God, a few Rubik's cubes just to end out the season. So let's get stuck in, mate. Horses to follow. We're back to regularly scheduled programming. So DJ, horses to follow from Derby Day, Melbourne Cup Day, even today on Oaks Day, mate.
Look, there was a few. I'm going to say Rich Hips first up. So it won race 9 on Melbourne Cup Day. Where did it come from? I don't know.
Ran over Liar, that's for sure.
Ran over Liar.
First and last for me.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah, just had something for interest, and I thought I was home, and then I wasn't.
Well, I had the thing that ran third, which was $3 a place, so
yeah,
could be worse. But yeah, Rich Hips came out of nowhere. It was in our quaddie. I didn't believe that.
Macca.
Oh, of course. Well done, Mac.
Didn't back it.
He didn't back it. $27. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so Rich Hips for me.
Yeah, nice. I had Victoria Key, who that form has literally just been franked because Personal won the Oaks. So, and Ain't No Deal Done, who defeated it down in Adelaide, came out and won on Melbourne Cup Day. So
jeez, that's form. Some
solid form coming out of that, and apparently it's going to be even better in the autumn. So, still learning its craft. You saw that when it was racing. It just it just wasn't running straight, and then Jamie got her to run straight, and then she got the chockies. So she looks a nice filly.
Speaking of fillies, got to have September Run in there. Yeah, she was really dominant in the Coolmore. And look, she was probably one of the only horses that had a faultless prep.
Yep. She
loves the Flemington Straight, and I think the Flemington Straight can turn some sprinters into absolute superstars. And September Run is one of them. For me, the 1,200 metres was the only query on her, and she answered that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, huge run.
You look at that trifecta, actually. Spots that, faultless. Wild Ruler, faultless. But I actually had the 4th place at Doubtland as one to watch.
Same.
He was back on the inside, did the most work. That's where the breeze was coming on, so he didn't have any cover. He was on good ground. He was actually really unsuited by that race, and he ran on really, really well. Yeah,
he was a sort of honourable mention for me, actually, in that same race. Yeah, one last one for me was horse I'm starting to get a bit of a soft spot for, Archenna, who won in Sydney.
It's a fill-up.
It's an absolute fill-up. Yeah, she seems to be a horse that slowly builds into a race. I think that race was 1,900 metres from memory. The whole Polo Punt Club was on it. And she worked into the race nicely. So I think she's a 2,000, 2,400 metre horse. And if it's wet, it's a fill-up.
Oh, my goodness. I had one last one from Sydney as well, from the Golden Eagle. I did highlight it a few weeks ago. Dawn Passage ran out of his skin in that Golden Eagle. That was the first time he was on really testing conditions, went through it. Notably, a lot of them didn't. Even the ones that had form didn't. So that means Colette is just an out-and-out swimmer. But yeah, mate, he ran super. He's in for another good autumn for mine. So yeah, good. It's been a great spring carnival, both in Melbourne and Sydney. Okay, mate. Polo Recipients for the last time this season.
Mate, I reckon we could do an entire podcast just with this section. There's so much to choose from, good and bad. But look, firstly, honourable mention in the top tier to you, mate, and Brad. Both had cracking days on Derby Day. Picked a few good winners, a few juicy winners. So salute to you, mate.
Thank you.
salute to my girlfriend G, who tipped the Melbourne Cup winner through an omen through the name Twilight. So $27, $5 each way.
On your G.
That's a fill up. It's a genuine fill up. So yeah, they're all honourable mentions, but have to give the top tier to Wayne Bennett and the boys in maroon. Oh, don't you just love wins like that?
Oh, mate. I was...
Take a back seat, New South Wales, you arrogant PRICKSs.
I couldn't agree more. It was a weird game, that. It was clearly an off-season game. I think a lot of people, except Dane Gagai, were taking their time to get into the footy. But I did see on Instagram that, like, even pros just don't know how Dane Gagai does it.
He goes Super Saiyan. I don't understand it.
He's a different man.
He is.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. I actually had that as my top tier as well, but I had a last-minute change because I thought you would be talking about that. So my top tier is actually the first season of our podcast. I think we've done a bloody good job.
Mate, we have. Let's pat ourselves on the back.
Yes. I think we deserve it, but we're going to be bigger and better next season, starting for, I reckon, probably the weeks leading up to the CF4 Stakes, which is typically in the middle of February. So we'll probably be doing some stuff around Magic Millions. We'll do a podcast here and there for the Group 1s in WA, which are in December. So we won't be away for that long, but we need a bit of a freshen up as well.
Yeah, look, it's a promising first prep.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll be definitely bringing some more stuff to the punters next season as well. So we're looking forward to that. Your middle tier.
I'm going to give the Polo Punt Club's wet track form in Sydney. We had an absolute fill-up last weekend as a group. I think we backed as a group the first 5.
Yeah.
And then you had Colette and the Golden Eagle, and I had a nice little each-way on her as well. So, it was just serious wet track form.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I think I got 8s for Colette, but she started at $10. Oh
yeah, and fill up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So take note, punters. Whenever it's wet, she swims. My middle tier was Prince of Arran. My goodness.
Oh yeah,
what a horse.
Fair.
He was so unlucky. Like I had money. He was my main bet in the race, and my eyes were solely on him. And Jamie Carr just had nowhere to go, and I saw people were knocking a ride. She couldn't do anything.
No, I thought he was awesome.
Yeah,
and weird to say this in the Melbourne Cup, but wanted further. Yeah, mate. Well, we had second and third there, so not a bad shout for the potty. I think Prince of Arran was really unlucky in that race. I think Tiger Moth had every chance to run over the top of Twilight Payment, but
bit green.
Yeah, I think a little bit green. So, not a bad result.
Fair. Who's looking awful this week?
Oh, mate. Well, speaking of Melbourne Cup, and terrible news coming out of it with Tony Van Dyke, unfortunately having to be euthanised after the race. It's just, I felt my heart drop when you sent that text through, and it just sucks, man.
It does suck, and it's also not acceptable either, because you look at all these big races, and I think Gadding broke down over, say, 2,000 meters, but I think that was a freak accident that in that instance. But these internationals in the Melbourne Cup for the last 7 years, there's been 7 of them break down. Something's amiss. And thankfully, Racing Victoria have opened up an investigation into it. Their integrity officer or whoever, as they should. But it's just, I just don't know what the solution is, because apparently the Werribee facility that they're at, apparently it's a really, really tight turning track. So, and these horses, because they're on massive, wide flowing grounds. Like, I think the straight at Ascot, like, they have a straight mile race. So that's how long it is. Like, it's so wide. And so I think they're just not used to it, and some of them can handle it, like the Prince, and unfortunately some others can't, and the fatality numbers back that up. So
yeah, it's not good at all. My heart sank, and hopefully something comes out of it. You got to feel for the horse, obviously, but you got to feel for the connections. That's a superstar horse, and not going home. So that's clear bottom tier stuff for me.
Well, it was mine as well. So I think the reason why it's so important to get this right is because, like, we're racing fans, and there's still a bit of a stigma about liking horse racing and being passionate about it. When it's your grand final as a product, and it's one of the most watched events of the year worldwide for the sport, you need to get it right.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look, because then, and rightfully so, animal activists come out and they criticize the industry, but they do it a little bit uneducated. They're a bit uneducated about the industry, so because there's a massive stigma behind it.
Yeah. Mate, and look, on a slightly lighter note, obviously I have to give myself a bottom tier polo because I got the bottom tier polo. First time purple polo in a year.
All right,
Punters.
so give the punt, because I was going to give you a dishonourable mention as well.
You deserve it.
Give the punters a bit of a refresher on how you receive the purple polo and how it came about.
Oh, so look, every Derby Day each year, we basically compete against each other as a punt club. Winner doesn't get a prize except for the money they've won, but the loser, whoever's had the worst day based on percentage of their punts, gets gifted the purple polo. I hadn't won it before until Derby Day, and it took me not picking a single winner on the card to get the purple polo. But not only that, punters, and I apologise profusely to anyone who followed my tips for Flemington, because I think I had a second.
Yep.
I had 2 seconds.
Yep.
And a third.
Yep.
In an entire card. I had 2 lasts. Look, it's the worst day I've had on the punt probably ever. And I saved it for Derby Day. I just want to apologise to everyone, and I'm disappointed in myself. And look, everyone else is disappointed in me. I want to apologise, so it'll never happen again.
Look, it's unlike you, mate. For the years that we've been doing this, it's very unlike you. Derby Day is probably your best day of the year, so...
Oh, it was due. I was due for it, but look... It sucked on the day itself, but I got over it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And all I can say is redemption time.
Redemption, mate.
I'm going to be back.
Yeah.
Bigger and better way.
Good man. Okay, mate. Let's get stuck in to the Flemington card for the last day of the Spring Carnival. And, mate, might I say, what a carnival it is. It's,
yeah.
I'd say Derby Day is by far my favourite day. But then I'd probably go Derby Sprint Day, and then Cup Day, and then Oaks Day. I could take it or leave it. So,
yeah, I'd probably be the same as you there, mate. There's some cracking races on the cards today. A few open races. If you can jag a few winners, you're bloody laughing.
You're laughing. So let's kick off with the Grand Handicap 2,000 metre benchmark 80. How did you see this one unfolding?
Quite an open race for mine, mate. I think there's one horse here that I want to keep an eye on. I'm not backing it, but it's the International Almania. It's the top weight. It's got Bowman on the back. Hasn't started in Australia before, but comes here in some pretty good nick. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, but I'm not going to take it at the odds. I like horse number 7, Scottish Dancer. Ran 7th last start, but that was a complete forgive job. One before that, Blinkers come on here. I think it's going to bounce back quite well. Doesn't mind the track. Has got one placing here, but Yeah, I think it'll bounce back. I think it's quite an open race though, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a few other things run well. Not a big betting race for me.
No, neither here. Good catch on the top weight. See it here has here form around Enable and Prince of Arran. So
yes,
I can see why it's the short price favourite, but it might be a gap job, to be honest, because this field isn't that great. But I did land on the Adelaide runner, number 4, Somerset Morham. Let's go with that. Benny Malamon, mate, it's been absolutely gapping its opposition whenever it's stood up in grade down in Adelaide. Look, I've got a bit of a thing for the Adelaide horses at the moment, thanks to
like
Victoria Key. But yeah, I think it will give you a great race, give a great shout here. I was also looking at Vegas Knight, who probably put in its run of its career last start, where it went forward over the 2,000 and won by 3.5 lengths, but it drew a nice barrier there. I think it's just going to do a bit too much work early. So happy to have Somerset on top, but I'm not playing in that race.
Yeah. If you're looking for some value as well, punters, the number 6 Royal Order is not a bad shout. So it finished second in that race in Geelong behind Serengeti. That was the same race that Scottish Dancer ran 7th in, but if you watch that replay, it was complete forgive for Scottish Dancer. So he also ran well here, first up at Flemington. So this prep, happy to have him on top.
Good man. Alrighty, so the second race on the card, the Springtime Stakes, 1,400 metre listed grade, 3-year-olds, handicap. Got all of it out. 9-horse field. I'm with the second favourite here. I think it's another Adelaide runner.
With D-Speed?
Yeah. McAvoy, Luke Curry. So, great stable jockey combination there. I think it'll jump to the front here. It's drawn perfectly and it'll be hard to run down. But I'm not too keen to have a bet in this race. But who would you land on top?
Mate, going to stick with Sydney form here with number 4, Tommy Gold. He ran second last start. And he beat home on the lead there. On the lead, ran second in the Roman Console Stakes. And I had Wild Ruler and Doubtland in that race. So that form's stacked up pretty nicely. As you just mentioned, Wild Ruler and Doubtland were 3rd and 4th in the Coolmore. So he's unproven on a good track, Tommy Gold, but happy to see how he goes here. Not a big betting race for me.
Yeah, nice. Okay, the third race on the card, the Chatham Stakes. Chatham Stakes. 1,400 metres, Group 3 handicap. History of repeating here. I was keen on the top weight here until I realised it was the top weight because this guy can't handle weight, I've been told.
Noob.
So I was keen on him in a harder race, but I can't have him here because of the weight, which is ridiculous. So probably overthinking it, but I'm not backing Reykjavik here. Didn't mind the look of Harlech for Mike Moroney, who he can't buy a winner these days. But this horse has been competing in a couple of Group 1s this prep, and I think they've realised it's probably not up to that grade. So it was an impressive winner at Benalla last start, and now they're going back to Flemington, which will suit. I think it can give us a good sight. Who'd you land on?
Look, I like 2 horses in this. You might have the old Tommy 2 bets. Look, there's Group 1 company in this race, and I think a horse that's going pretty well is Bold Star number 6.
Ugh.
You don't like it?
Well, he has a flashing light on him every single run. He just doesn't win.
Fair. Look, don't mind him, but the horse I actually prefer is number 7, Sansom. So he's a pretty consistent horse, and I think he's ready to win at stakes level. Drawn perfectly here. And from what he's shown so far this prep, I think he should go well. So, got a preference for Sansom in this race, but I think Bold Star is worth a shout.
Yeah, nice one. Okay, the fourth race on the card, benchmark 90 handicap, 4-year-olds and up. Who'd you land on here, mate?
Mate, I like the favourite in this. Number 5, Right You Are. Resuming, got a strong record when resuming for 1 win and 1/3 from 2 starts. 2 from 2 at the distance. 1 from 1 at this track at this distance. So draws well, got Ollie on the back. Yeah, it's probably my best bet of the day, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, look, different gravy, but ran half a length to Persan, who just ran out of his skin.
Just ran 5th in the Melbourne Cup.
Ran out of his skin in the Melbourne Cup. So, and that was over 2,000. This is a mile, isn't it? So, very different race and probably not the right form reference, but, you know, it gives you an idea that he can go with some pretty decent horses. He's my on-top selection as well. Not much more to add. Alrighty, so the Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Alrighty, so we have some internationals here. True Self won this race last year, and because she failed to make the Melbourne Cup field 2 years in a row. So she's at a nice each-way price if you like her, but I've gone for someone a little bit different. Who do you have on top?
Yeah, look, looking at the internationals, I was actually quite keen on Future Score, but it's been scratched from this race. Yeah, it was weighing up between Le Don de V, the top weight, and number 2, Pondus. Le Don de V ran second in the Geelong Cup. Was sort of leading the whole way, but then found another gear to sort of keep on pushing. Just missed out to Steel Prince. But I think the distance here, going up another 200 metres is quite good for it, because it'll lead quite comfortably and doesn't seem to be a lot of early speed. So I think she'll be able to dictate the tempo up the front. Yeah, happy to go with Le Don de V.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Pondus is my on-top selection here. Pretty luckless in the Bendigo Cup. Unfortunately, he got quite hampered when Supergirl broke down during that race, and it took her a couple of pairs further back, and only still made a massive run just to miss Princess Jenny, who had the run of the race. So I think that's the right form for this. He has, well, he's been racing against Adaib and Magical over in Europe. So I think he should be taking care of these. But it's a horse race. Cool. So the first leg of the quaddie is the VRC Sprint. But we'll go into a bit of a deep dive after that. So let's go to race 7 on the card, the Matriarch Stakes, 2,000 metres, Group 2, mares, set weights, penalties. So this is basically for the ones who couldn't make the Mackinnon. This is where they land up. So who'd you land on here?
Mate, this is a tough race. A few chances. I don't mind the favourite, number 13, Shalala. But watching a replay of the Rose, I think the 2,000 metres is still a bit of a query. It started to sort of slow up. So happy to watch it this time. Look, I'm going to go back to the well with a horse I got a bit of a soft spot for, number 2, Toffee Tongue. Look, she is a bit of a non-winner, but I think she's back to a race that suits. I think 2,000 metres is a go, and I think she'll enjoy the Flemington track. Barry's a bit of a question mark, but if she's ridden positively and sort of can be just off the lead, I think this is her race, mate. But I do admit there are a few chances.
Well, I'm glad you think that, because I've gone a chance that is a roughie. So I've gone number 8, Aristia. This girl does her best racing at Flemington. Blinkers on, tick. It's going to sharpen her up, I hope. I think a drying track suits her as well. And she, 3 starts ago, she ran within a length of the chosen one. So, who just ran 4th in the Melbourne Cup. I think she's the forgotten horse in this race, and I think you basically put a line through all of her form that is not at Flemington. And, yeah, I think she suits up here. So, happy to have her on board. Jamie Carr in the saddle.
Thanks for coming.
Got her at $51 today, so I'll be riding her home. That's for damn sure. Cool. All right, let's skip the Mackinnon. So to the Get Out Stakes, mate. The grand handicap to finish off the day, 1,100 metres, benchmark 80. Help.
Really?
Help. How'd you see this?
Oh, man. I don't mind the Godolphin thing in this. Number 15, Plaquette. Jamie Carr on the back. That's a chick.
That's interesting for Godolphin that they've gone Jamie Carr. She doesn't usually ride for them.
She doesn't. Yeah, look, he's in great nick this prep. He's third up here. It's good for it. Distance, 3 starts, 1 win, 2 thirds. Draws a good barrier. And yeah, look, as you're saying, Jamie Carr's in red hot form. So, yeah, look, I had a bit of a look through it, and I think it's a bit more obvious than the others. But yeah, I do admit it's a bit of a tough race.
Very tough. And I landed on the 13 here, Maria Mia, who has some form around Wild Vixen, who just ran nicely on Cup Day. So, but she's $26. So you can put a line through that if you want. But I think the straight is it suits this horse. Track distance, it's been in the Quinella both times, and it's actually drawn out, which seems like that's the place to be for the straight races throughout the carnival. So that's not a bad thing. So I think it should be able to get quite a nice run. Well, I hope anyway. It's just the thing is that a lot of the speed has drawn to the inside, so that will be the only query. But it's a horse race again. So, righty punters, let's take a quick break, and then we'll go into a deep dive of the Group 1s. Okay, so the VRC Sprint, mate. Let me give you some history about this race.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Started back in 1960, and there was some stats about Sydney runners coming to this, and they weren't successful. But since the Everest, since the 3 Everests that have run since their inception, the winner has come from the Everest. So they were Redzel, Santa Ana Lane, and Nature Strip last year. So looks like a pretty solid form reference now. And I think the spacing between it, what's that, 2 or 3 weeks? I think that's pretty good for sprinters. So I wouldn't really be too concerned about anything coming from the Everest. Only 2 horses have won from a double-digit barrier since 2006, but then you look at the pattern throughout the carnival, and that kind of throws that stat out the door. But and there's only one, that's Fabergino anyway. So, okay. Previous winners: Black Caviar, Buffering, Redzel, Santa Ana Lane, and Nature Strip last year. So, how did you see this one I'm playing?
Man, I thought this was a toughie.
It was.
Yeah, I think this is a tough race. Look, obviously you've got Nature Strip and Fabergino bursting out of the blocks and running forward. I'm thinking of the Coolmore, and I'm thinking of your Farnans and whoever bloody else was leading in that race. I was only watching him, the silly horse.
Anders to the inside, Farnan to the grandstand side, with Wild Ruler taking a sit behind.
Yeah. So, and then you've got September Run, who tracks behind them, then pounces. Fiesta did the same thing in the last race. So this is a different race, but I think for the straight, I want something that's got a bit of cover and then can pounce. So I've landed on Bivouac. Did absolutely nothing wrong the Everest. He just found a horse that was just absolutely flying. He's got a proven record at the track on the straight.
Won the Newmarket?
Yeah, won the Newmarket earlier this year. So I'm trying not to keep this complicated, this race. I'm trying to keep it simple. And based on that, I think Bivouac's good enough to win. But I think there's a few chances.
Yeah, no, he's the one I landed on as well. And I'm probably one of his biggest critics. But I think he's drawn pretty well here. The other one that's drawn perfectly is Big Santa up the top.
He has, hasn't he?
And tell you what, he ran a pretty damn good race in the Everest.
Mate, his splits were insane. I was looking at them doing the form for this, and just absolutely was bolting home, like a Ferrari.
Yeah, and an old Ferrari, but a Ferrari nonetheless.
An 8-year-old Ferrari.
But he, if he was closer in the run, he definitely would have been featuring. And as you typically see with straight races, they bunch together a fair bit. But I kind of think that actually plays into Bivouac's hands as well.
Yeah.
So, but the runner who I said to you during the week, I hope this runner ran on Oaks Day, and he hasn't. He's rocked up here, and he's going to be a quaddie killer across Australia. It's number 5 Graph. You cannot catch this horse.
No.
He has to go in your quaddie punters. He has to go into my numbers. Danny O'Brien could have turned this horse around, because that last race he won over 1,000. He absolutely gapped Fabergino, who she's pretty smart, but yeah, I just think the 1,200 looks to suit here, and he ran 4th in a Newmarket a couple of years ago, so he loves the straight. Gee, he could blow him away at a blowout price. So
yeah, look, I hope he's in our quaddie, but I'm not taking him.
Has to go in, has to. So who's your trifecta, mate?
Well, mate, I've got Biv on top. I've actually got Zutori.
Yep,
running a race. I think Zutori's come into this race pretty quietly.
Looks a changed horse this prep.
Yeah.
He used to just be a first up horse, but now he's won 2 on the gallop, 2 on the bounce, and they're keeping him fresh between each run.
Which I like. And if you look at his form at this track, at this distance, 7 starts, 3 wins, and 2 thirds.
That'll do.
Yeah, not bad. So proven on the straight, which I think is pretty key. Jamie Carr on the back. Mate. Red and white stripes for silks. I think Zutori's overs. So I've got him running second, and I think Santa's going to run a nice little sneaky third.
Jeez, that'll play. Yeah, mate. I had who'd I have? I had Biv on top. I had Graf running second, just because I think he's got a bit of upside about him this prep. And look, I don't like the barrier draw. He's going to have to get lucky. And you might see Johnny Allen just take him last and just take him to the outside. But I think, off that last run, I think he has to go into my numbers. And then I had Zutori in for third as well for the reasons outlined. So interesting that you didn't give Libertini a shout out. She's one of your girls.
Yeah, she is. I think that first up race she had where she beat home Classique and Deprive was enormous. So can't take that away from her. But the race pattern sort of suited her there. I don't know if she'll do the same thing on the straight.
I saw on Racing.com's Spring Contenders that her 2 career peaks have come first up when she's fresh. Yep. So she definitely runs her best races when she's fresh. Okay. Alrighty, mate. The last Group 1 of the Spring Carnival at Flemington, we have the Mackinnon Stakes. So let me give you some stats around this. It started in 1937. The Cox Plate has produced 8 winners since 2008 in this race, so that's a key form reference. But only 2 mares have won since 2001, one of them being Magic Wand from last year. So... And there's a mare who's favourite for this race.
There is.
Who looks awfully hard to beat.
She does.
How did you see this race unfolding?
Yeah, well, like you said, mate, I think the Queen, I think she's primed and ready to go for this. Her 5th in the Cox Plate, I think, was huge because you and I both know that she likes running on top of the ground, and she didn't find that at the Cox Plate. And yeah, I think this race is suited to her. She draws perfectly. So gets out, should sit, probably midfield, but I think she'll get a little bit of cover and should be able to peel out and pounce. So I'm with Arcadia Queen. No knock on Melody. I'm a big fan of her. 2 Group 1s in NZ on the soft deck, though. Comes over here against some... horses that are racing in cracking form.
It's different gravy.
Yeah, no thanks. Mugger 2. I I can understand the price at $5.50. Running fourth in the Cox Plate. I think 2,000 metres is his go, but no thanks. Horse who I think is a little bit overs. Number 2, 50 stars.
Mate, no respect for
No
him.
Respect. He's won an Australia Cup at 2,000 metres, the big fella.
Mate, there's 2 horses in this race that 2,000 metres at Flemington is their bread and butter. One of them's 50 stars, who he drifted off the map in the Cantala because it was a Group 3, but he still ran out of his skin. Proven on the backup. There's a little bit of rain at Flemington, so if it's a genuine good 4, I think that suits. The other one's Harlem.
Yeah.
What's he done wrong?
Nothing.
Like, he's getting up in horse years. He'd be a very old man.
He's 9, the fella.
But mate, he's had an underrated prep for mine. So I think he can run a race too. But the clear horse to beat, who's drawn perfectly, she can take a sit, couple of pairs back, is Arcadia Queen.
Oh yeah,
because Shout the Bar's going to spend too many gas tickets going forward. She knows no other way. Dallasan's probably going to go forward, and geez, probably Harlem kicks up. So I reckon that's your top 3, and then it's an absolute lottery for the rest. But I think Arcadia Queen's sitting right behind that forward pack. And I'm hoping that 50 stars can sit behind the Queen, basically just trying to follow her into the straight. But if it is a good track, as I'm expecting, Arcadia Queen's got lengths on this lot.
Oh, yeah.
So she's my clear on top selection for this. I have 50 stars running into second. He's done absolutely nothing this prep, and I'm actually quite offended with the $10 on offer for him.
So am I.
And you know what, mate? I've got Harlem running into third.
Mate, that's not a bad shout at all.
The track trip horses.
I didn't chuck Harlem into me trifecta, but I did notice that he's had a good prep, and I thought that he's been treated really badly with that price. Whether she runs third or not, I'm not sure. But I've got a lot of love for Melody Bell, so I'm going to chuck her in at third.
Yeah, fair. And you had 50 stars for second.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Gee, might take that Quinella juice.
Thanks for coming, boys.
Juicy. Okay, mate. So that is the Group 1's done and dusted. So let's get into the juicy stakes, where we give our best value each way and best bets of the day. So who's your value in Flemington?
Man, I think Zootori in the sprint at $12. I reckon that's great value. Nice little each way there, punters. Great prep thus far, kept fresh. Think the race will suit. Proven on the straight. Worth a shout.
Yeah. No, that is a value bet any day of the week. Can't go past Aristia at, if you boost it, punters, $51.
Who are you talking to?
Look, let me go through it again. And look, I did pot this last podcast because it's her 30th start and blinkers on first time. So I think they're reaching. But you never know, it might work, and you're getting a price to find out. Blinkers on first time to sharpen her up. You have Jamie Carr on, tick, tick. Flemington, big tick. 2,000 metres, tick. The chosen one form. That's so many ticks I lost count. So I think, look, I can find out at that price.
Oh, yeah, of course you can, mate. Don't be silly.
Okay, each way, all day.
Oh,
I found this tough.
I did too. So that's why I went to a horse that I like, Toffee Tongue. Race 7, number 2. $7.50 for the win, punters. I'm willing to find out at that price. 2,000 metres. Ran a nice second to Very Elegant if you start spoke. Oh.
Look, it could be worse. It could be a lot worse. I'm going for a horse that's been in Group 1s way back in grade. Race 3, number 3, Harlech for Mike Moroney. $7 at the moment. He'll run a nice race for us. Okay, your best of the day, DJ.
Mate, I think if we go back to race 4 and look at number 5, right you are. Yes, it's out of all the races, it's one I'm probably most confident in, apart from Arcadia Queen. Just hesitant having a Group 1 horse as my BB. Group 1 race, sorry, as my BB. So
I don't think it stopped you in the past.
probably not. But no, I do like its profile on this. And look, Persan just ran 5th in a cup. So yeah, I'm going to have Right You Are as my BB.
Fair enough, mate. Cannot talk you out of that. I'm just sticking to the Europeans at a staying distance. Pondus, race 5, number 2, for Oliver and Joey O'Brien. Joe?
Yes.
Joseph O'Brien, yeah,
Yep.
who's the Melbourne Cup trainer. Look, I think the white armbands can get it done again at Flemington. So, gee, mate, that all up, and let's bloody hope it gets over the line here, because we've been, what's this, the 17th podcast, we've been 0-16. So, let's hope.
The amount of times we've got 1 out of 2.
Oh, mate, Victoria Key saluted last week, and all we needed was diamond effort to find a gear. It was just too bloody hard for her. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Okay, mate, that is another one done and dusted. That's the last podcast of the season, punters. But thank you so much for listening in. It's been a lot of fun doing it over the past few months. We'll definitely be back for the autumn. Can't wait for it, to be honest. So DJ and I are going to go away, have a good, long, hard look at ourselves and have a think of how we can improve this even more. So
Yeah, me especially.
But yeah, until next time, punters, give us a look on YouTube. Let us know any feedback as well, wherever you get your podcast, to see if there's anything that you wanted to see for the next season. So we're more than happy to listen to what you have to say. But yeah, until probably the winter bottom or something like that, we'll do a podcast.
That sounds good, mate.
We'll see you then.
Thanks, punters.